And we're live. What is going on, everyone? It's Alonna with 570 Press. It's been a hot minute since I've talked with you guys on the music chat, but today I have Vinnie and Eyal from the Big Break contest, which is an awesome contest that's going on right now. And voting just began today. So when you're done here, make sure you go and vote for your favorite video. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Excellent.
That's
How about you?
Glad to hear it. Doing pretty good. It's December, so it's like that holiday crunch time now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that.
I'll be writing Christmas cards right after this, so I don't know that feeling.
I feel like I've been up all night working on working bugs out of the website.
So
I'm pretty tired because we launched the Big Break last night. So yeah.
So this is season 2 of the Big Break. Previously, on our last podcast, last time we spoke, you said that you had done it in Colorado.
That's right.
So bringing it here, how did it differ from when you had it in Colorado as opposed to now in Pennsylvania, and specifically Northeast Pennsylvania? Because I noticed a lot of your artists that submitted are from this general area.
Right. So at first, when I first started this, I thought that it was going to go completely different than it's actually going now. I thought that it would be much smaller than it was in Colorado, just on a smaller scale of what I did there. And I was really surprised that it's actually gone the other way. This has grown bigger than anticipated, bigger than I expected. Don't get me wrong, the one in Colorado was awesome, but this is, we've got celebrity judges, we've been on TV about it. Just today, this afternoon, we were on PA Live talking with Chris. So it's just kind of taken a life of its own and taken off. And, I did not have this in Colorado. I did not have a host. Vinnie is awesome to have. So yeah, that's a lot of weight taken off of me that I can, focus on other things. Sponsors. I didn't have sponsors last time. I've got sponsors this time. I picked up a awesome sponsor here recently, just the other day, Ethos Dispensary in Wilkes-Barre and Hazleton. They both became official sponsors of the Big Break. So that's,
Nice.
that was pretty awesome. I've got Bynum Beautiful, who's also in Dallas. So she does hair. I actually go to her. I'm actually a little overdue. I got to go see her. So just having the sponsors and the support and the backup, just way different than it was.
Right. Yeah, totally. And, Ethos being as big of a company as they are, that's super, super dope that you have them behind you. Great place, great atmosphere, great people.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you and Vinnie neither one of you are from around here. Like, I know Vinnie mentioned he was born in California and you're from obviously like the Colorado area. So how did you two kind of like come together to bring this to Northeast PA?
Well, I'll start this one. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not actually from Colorado. I was born in Israel, and then I moved, when I was 9, I moved to New York, and then from New York to Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania. And then once I turned 18, I joined the military, and I was active duty military in the Air Force, and I ended up in Colorado, my last duty station. And I just fell in love with Colorado, that when I separated from the military, I just stuck around there for another 7 years. And then I ended up coming back here because of, I got family here. My mother's here, my kids are here. So that's how I got here. And then I posted some time ago on a few local groups on Facebook saying, hey, I'm looking for a host, MC, someone that's, down to earth, but also like enthusiastic and can pump up a crowd and do all that stuff. And somebody tagged Vinnie. And I reached out to Vinnie and I'm like, hey, do you have, a reel or anything like that? And he sends me this awesome reel of him talking to all these badass musicians, some like from how long is that ago? Like that whole reel of Vinnie, like when does it start? Like what's this time frame? What's the timeline there?
Yeah, I think what I sent you was like between the years of like 2010 to 2015 before I even moved here. So, yeah, like you was saying, I saw a Facebook ad, and my background is, I grew up in California. I was doing the whole acting world out there of, trying to get on TV shows and whatnot, and going to auditions, standing in line for 8 hours, and being told, no, we're looking for someone with, purple hair. You don't have purple hair, you can't be in our movie or TV show. And I'm going, I stood in line for how many hours just to be
Yeah.
told no? But eventually, I did a couple TV shows here and there. And, I was kind of at the time, once I hit like my, plateau where I was like, okay, cool. I can say I was on, a television show that was nationally broadcast, appeared in a Super Bowl commercial. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I wanted to be an actor. I did it. Awesome. However, as I got older, I realized, maybe I could do something different. And I grew up, just like you, Alonna, a fan of the local music scene, went out and would support the bands and be like, hey, good job, fist pump. All right, cool. You guys rock. And at the time, this is pre MySpace, pre YouTube, and I would have a little camcorder with me, and I would just start, hey, can I film your band? Hey, can I interview your band? And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing this for because there's no YouTube. So I'm like, maybe I want to be an actor. Maybe I can combine the two. So I would, do my little, hey, I'm Vinny and I'm here backstage with blah, blah, blah. And I saw an ad on a TV station and they said, we're looking for video content. So kind of like a local, like a PA Live type of thing, which we appeared on earlier. And so I started this thing called The Vinnie Langdon Show. YouTube comes out. People are like, upload your video of the Vinnie Langdon Show on YouTube. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? That's kind of like, I want to be a movie star, not an internet star. Like the internet's for other people, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, no. Like Justin Bieber and all these like celebrity people are becoming famous from their bedroom. And I'm like, I'm not in my bedroom. I'm going to concerts. Like that's different. I did not understand the concept. I put some videos up on YouTube, and all of a sudden record labels started reaching out to me saying, hey, I know you're trying to be an actor, but you're really good at what you do. Would you like to work with our bands? And I'm thinking, okay, I sing in my bedroom. I sing karaoke, like I, I have the mirror. I come home from school and I'm like playing air guitar. Like I am not a musician. All right. So they're like, no, would you like to work with these bands and go out and do videos for them? I find myself like in the back of a van, working with bands, from Breathe Carolina to Paramore to Alisana to all these like emo rock bands and punk bands. And I'm just like, this is weird, but like, this isn't me. Like I'm being me, but it's not my scene. I'm not in my comfort zone. And even though it wasn't acting, it was still fun. Fast forward, I get kind of tired of California. My family says, hey, we're moving to the East Coast. And I'm like, awesome, cool. Close to New York. I'm totally there. I'm sold. Let's go. I move out here and I'm, working for, radio stations and TV stations. And I'm just like, like part of me missed what I used to do in California, which was be always constantly around bands and, working and helping them. And I see an advertisement on Facebook back in around July of last summer. And it says, hey, the Big Break's looking for a host. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, I'll just hit submit. Like, I don't know. This dude probably won't even pick me because, I'm not from here. I don't know. And yeah, like Eyal was just saying, I had a little highlight reel that, showed some of the, bigger artists that I've worked with to local bands to just business owners, like, hey, I'm here at Joe's Barbershop, whatever. And he's like, oh, I think you could do this. And I'm like, all right. And I'm thinking, well, can he do this? And surprise, I checked him out. He had a good background in filmmaking and whatnot. And I said, hey, I'm down if you're down. So it's I'm really happy to be a part of it. It's nice to just see the bands all be supportive to what we're doing, in return helping them too. So
right, definitely. And I think that it's a very interesting concept, because we don't really have things like that around here. This is the first of its kind. And I think a lot of the success is because of that, and because Eyal and you are so passionate about it, and you can tell you guys are super passionate about it. And as I said, it's not really something that we've seen before, so it's new, it's exciting. People want to be a part of this, and I think that it's pretty amazing that you guys are like bringing like this to our little like small like tribe type thing, because it's it's a tough world in the music industry, but I always say it's even tougher like in this area because it's very rural. And it's almost like that thing. You have to be born here to like know like everything about this area. And you guys definitely bring like some fire with you, and you guys would never know that you guys were not born here. Because like just the passion that you guys have just for the local scene, not even like music in general, like just the local scene off the bat, like is unmatched, and I've never seen anything like it. I think it's super cool.
So I think, like, if you were to take the United States as a whole and look at it, obviously most of the U.S. is rural, and
right.
Small towns, and Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, Hazleton. It's anywhere, any town USA, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But any town USA also still has people with talent that may not even realize that they have a may think it's stupid, like it's a stupid idea to even try to go down this road. I'm not going to go anywhere with it. That's dumb. I got to do something to for a living. This is different. So I think when it comes down to it, when like when I did this in Denver, all the musicians were already out. It was band after band after band. They're everywhere. And I think maybe that's why, and there's contests, all sorts of contests all the time. So I think maybe perhaps that's why the big break was taken maybe a little better here as opposed to there. And that's because, like you were saying earlier, there isn't anything like this around here. There aren't a whole lot of opportunities as far as contests go. There are several good ones, but nothing like this. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is that you shouldn't be surprised that there's I don't know, so much love here for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so much love, so much talent. I was going through some of the videos and I was blown away. I mean, I know part of your requirement was that it had to be a homemade video, but some of them you never even know that it was just like a little, homemade video with a balloon, keys, and a fork. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was really interesting. And I was amazed because I've worked with many of the bands that are a part of it, and I was like amazed. I was like, this is super cool. I was like in awe because it took me back to like the VH1 Classic days, and I know that like I'm kind of making myself seem young, but like I know MTV played music videos, but so did VH1 Classic, and I remember like always watching like these super cool music videos, and I feel like in today's world, I mean, I love music videos, but in today's world, you have like super high quality stuff, and that's fine. But sometimes just a homemade video like that really takes you back to that feel, and I love that so much. Like, it gives you that classic feel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, a lot of editors like to add grain to their videos to give it, because like you were saying, sometimes it's too polished where you have to add a little roughness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I totally hear you there.
Yeah, for sure. So I noticed that 2 of your celebrity judges are NEPA's own Josh Balls, formerly of Motionless in White, and Aaron. I'm so sorry. I always butcher his last name. I think it's Bruck.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's Bruck. So I'm sorry if I butchered it, but of Breaking Ben, and they also both co-own Parlor Beverages, which, by the way, shout out Parlor. Their root beer is amazing. Check it out.
Oh yeah, that actually Parlor, they're also a sponsor. They're also one of our sponsors, and I don't know, have you had their root beer yet?
Yes, I love the butterscotch.
It's fucking good.
It is. I love it. Like, every time I'm at like the V spot or something, I'm like, yo, give me a Parlor. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
I love it so much. I go to restaurants now, and the waitress comes up and is like, "What would you like to drink?" And I'm like, "You got any Parlor?" And they're like, "What?" I'm like,
yeah,
I'm out of here.
yeah. I know. I was in a hotel in Harrisburg when the pre-order came out, and I was like, I have to wait 2 months for this. And then when I finally got the order, I was like, oh my God, this was so worth the wait. Like, I love this.
I really want to take some of their I want to take their root beer. I want to make a root beer float out of Parlor. I don't know why I haven't yet, but
you haven't done it yet? Come on, dude.
Have you?
No, I haven't. I haven't done it yet either. See, I'm not a big soda drinker, but I love Parlor, so I'll probably have to like make a root beer float now, because now you've inspired me. Oh my God, even like an alcoholic root beer float, like how like some of those like tipsy ice cream shops make, that would be amazing. Like with like the butterscotch schnapps and the butterscotch root beer. All right.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I know what I'm doing after this. Yeah. But so what's it like for you to have, those two bigger name celebrity judges judging this contest? Like, is that, because I know that like previously, as you mentioned, in Colorado it was way different. Is it much different, like having the celebrity judges now, and what's it like to work with them?
It is. There's a couple of different things about that. First of all, in Colorado, the judges that I had, it was the same thing. There were 4 shows total, 4 live shows. But every night it was 3 different judges every night. So, this time we have the 3 same judges every night. So that makes it different, because they can also take into account what they've seen before when it comes to the final round, and kind of take all of that into account and see if if there was improvement, or anything like that, or if some things are habitual, or but obviously the biggest difference is that these are celebrity judges, and the judges that I had in Colorado, while they weren't celebrities, they were involved in music somehow. I remember a couple of them, or one of them actually taught music. So that was cool, because they took the whole, music theory route of it. Another one was did like plays, like musicals, right? Like directed musicals. So that was more of a look on how does, the band, what kind of stage presence do they have? Are they engaging with the crowd? Or are they doing some kind of a show? Is there a show or production, or is it just music?
Right.
So on that aspect, having these celebrities that are, in the music, industry, is pretty similar, but the amount of knowledge that these 2 have, is incredible. It's incredible. And I'm just excited to have somebody that has really made a career out of music at some point. And really did, it's just awesome, man. I don't know. It's just awesome. What do you think, Vinny?
Well, I think, the two artists, that we have as judges, I think it's great because no matter what you want to do in life, if you want to learn something, the best way to do it is just go to the source. So if you're able to say, "Hey, I'm in a band," well, what are other musicians going to think? And that's one way to get out there, So
Mhm.
for these bands to be able to, write all their own original material, and if they've been a band, I mean, some of the bands I want to mention and think it's incredible the talent in Pennsylvania statewide. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 artists that during the interview process, they were like, we just started this band in COVID. We never performed a show, but we're writing
Yeah.
a song just for the music video to get our band in there. And I'm like, man, that's so cool that it like happened so quick, Like
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
think about it, like less than a year to have a band, have a logo, have your own merchandise, have a website up and running, that's amazing. And to be able to take that and now perform it in front of these judges who, are in the music industry, who have been around, who have the touring experience, and not only the music side of it, but also the business side of it. Because I think that's the most difficult part that bands don't realize. They go, man, I want to start a band. They walk into like a music store and go, whoa, that guitar costs X amount, like thousands of
Mhm.
dollars, a drum. And then they're like, okay, they go and they'll work a part-time job, which they hate, but then they'll get their like final paycheck. They'll quit their job. They'll be able to afford that guitar. And then they'll have band practice, write amazing songs. And then they'll go, how do we get shows? Like looking around like, hey, we got this cool song I wrote about my girlfriend, but how do I get into play a show? And to be able to learn the development side of it, and branding your band, and it's so important to do all that stuff early on, and to be able to do that for
I
real,
think
it
Mhm.
helps.
to piggyback off that, I think a lot of newer, younger bands have this, and not all of them, but many. And if you talk to venue owners, especially, they'll be like, "Yeah, dude, totally." They think that if you're good enough, they will find you.
Right.
They think that
Right.
it's just gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. And
You
that's
have,
not the
yeah.
case. You have to, yeah, you got to
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
yourself out there. You got to whore yourself out.
Yeah.
Like
You know what? You know what? I tell,
shameless
yeah.
advertising. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
A lot of the bands I work with, because I manage some bands through DI Records, a lot of them I work with, I'm like, you know what, you have to be persistent. I don't give a fuck if you come off as annoying. You have to be, because that's the only way you're gonna get, your foot in the door. Sometimes you have to be like, oh, for example, like if you're emailing about like playing a venue, like if you don't hear back from them in like 3 days, email them again. Send them
Follow
another
up.
email. Yeah.
Follow up.
Exactly,
Yep.
because not only does it show interest, but it shows, hey, you're serious about this and everything else, because, opportunity might knock at your door, but you can't go on that might. You have to go out and get your own opportunity. And I
Right.
learned that from my mother. She managed nursing homes and everything, and it's a whole different ball game, but that's where a lot of my business and managerial experience came from, because it's very similar as you have to be consistent and persistent.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think that's a lot of the artists, they were talking about the pros and cons of being a band from Pennsylvania compared to other states. There's that, like Eyal was saying, there's all those excuses when a band's starting out or they've been around for even like a decade. They'll say, well, we're a band we're from Scranton, we're from Wilkes-Barre, like we don't matter because we're not like a band like Motley Crue that they started doing band practice behind the Whiskey Go-Go in LA. And it's like, no, that doesn't mean you're not less than a band from New York or LA or Florida,
Right.
or, you have to go out there. Every second counts. I see a lot of bands, they go out there, they get excited, they, on Facebook, come to our show, hey, friends, family, and they get there and all their family and friends are like, yo, we can't afford the tickets or we didn't show up. And there's only 3 people sitting at the bar in the corner and they're like, all right, just, crank it up, let's play our set. And like, they're not into it. And it's like,
well,
you gotta
I
be
think
into it. So
well, I think a lot of that also has to do with, why are there only 6 people here watching us? Well, does it have anything to do with us playing every 2 weeks or every week in the same city? Like you got to spread out. You got to spread out. You can't play in the same city all the time. People are going to be, if you're playing in the same city all the time, people are just going to be like, I can't go this week. I'll catch them next week. And next week, I'll catch them next week. And it just goes on and on like that. And they never end up going. You gotta spread it out. You gotta go to other cities. You gotta drive, go,
right,
and then come back a few months later. Just keep doing it.
Right, exactly. And see, my thing is it's okay to establish yourself in a city, be it Scranton or Harrisburg or Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, wherever. It's okay to establish yourself there and make a name for yourself. That's cool. That's what you should be doing. But you also need to look further out, New York, even, Nashville, Chicago, and not even just the big cities, the smaller cities too. Like you have to have like a world map, like when you're looking at this, and it's like you're saying, it's okay to play those venues and get yourself established, but you also have to have this world map and be like, okay, so for example, we can play this show in Philadelphia tomorrow, but then next week, I want to see if we can get one in Atlantic City or something like that. You know what I mean? Just to move yourself so that you are always on the go and people are always, this week they're here, so I have to go to this show. Otherwise, they won't be back for a while.
Right, exactly.
A couple years ago, a good description of this is a band called Motionless in White. And I remember like a year or, before COVID, they did a hometown reunion show.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone went ballistic. They went nuts
over it. It was sold out, yeah.
And that's the kind of energy that artists need to do is, go, like Eyal said, you just leave town. Oh, when's your next show? Oh, sorry, man. We're not going to play our hometown for probably a year. We're out, we're touring, we're doing our life. But when we come back and you go out and you make everything big and you do your best and then you come back, people are going to look at you differently and be like, oh, wow, dude, I can't wait to go to your hometown show because I heard you sold out in, Mexico. Cool.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of energy you got to have.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And I think, there's a lot of bands who do have managers, but a lot of bands who I've met are self-managed. And I think it's just a matter of, I don't know if it's like a confidence thing that they don't think they can make it in other states. Sometimes it's financial. I know the pandemic was very, very rough on musicians and everybody. So I totally get the financial piece, but if you have the finances to do so, do it. And here's what I would say. The worst that these venue owners can tell you is no. Then you find someplace down the street and go play there.
Well, the worst thing they can say is pay to play.
Well, that too.
Which we don't fuck with those venues, do we?
Right. But I mean, if you find one that's like willing, to just have you and, pay you, even if it's just $200, it's better.
Well, here's the thing.
It's better than paying to play.
I think it could be way more than $200 if, again, if the bands would do their due diligence and self-promote and get people out to their shows, man.
Right.
Come out to our shows every freaking day. You should be out there freaking hustling, getting people to come to your shows. And then you know what?
Right.
More people come to your shows. The venue owners being like, or the GM is like, oh man, dude, they bring a lot of people. I want to pay them more so they come back here because I don't want the other venues to. I want them here. I want their.
It's like the singer who loads in and he just grabs his microphone and doesn't help the rest of the band.
Yeah,
the same thing. It's like if you're the drummer of the band, you better be flying it up on the internet or out in person.
Right.
Like back in the day, if you're the bassist, drummer, the singer, whatever, don't kick back and open up a 6-pack, man. Like, how bad do you want people at your show? And I think that's another thing. But the key important reason that we are doing the big break is to help those artists that have kind of already, fixed those little minor problems that are like, they're giving their best, they're working, and they're like, why can't we
Yeah.
get further? Well, that's when the big break comes in. You win our competition, you win your own produced music video, you're going to, get to be able to
Right.
record your own high quality original song. You take those two things, you're going to put a press kit together, an electronic press kit, and then you can go to venues and you have the proof. Alonna, you show up to a show, I'm picking on you, but you go up to a show, hey, I'm Alonna, I'm in a band, can I play here? They're going to go, who the hell are you? Where did you come from? They want to listen to your music. They want to see your video. A lot of bands, too, they have this issue. Like you were saying, Alonna, MTV, VH1, that's so outdated. It's not outdated. People want to see you. People want to see what you look like, what your stage presence like, and also your following on social media. So if you have that whole package, you're a true artist right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I see a comment here that's interesting. It says venues don't like to pay unknown, out of state bands. Getting fans in places you are not known is impossible. See, I agree to an extent, but I also disagree because, a lot of times some of them are paid to play, but sometimes you can get a national band that's sliding through a town and be like, hey, can we hop on this, as an opener? And, that's also a possibility. But, I like to think, nothing is impossible. You know what I mean? And I just feel like it's a lot of, right place, right time, and a lot of the strategies that Eyal and Vinnie have mentioned, and it's not saying that, you're doing anything wrong. It's just, maybe, there's other things that, you could look into doing as well.
I just saw a
it will
comment
take the entire music community to fix this. It's one band. I understand what he's saying as well, but
right.
This is a problem that would have to become like, it's a process, it would eventually become a habit if everybody just treated it like, let's face it, you want to do this for a living? It's a fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job.
Yeah.
You got things you got to do to make things happen.
I seen an interesting comment that, someone just stated that it's tough being an original band. Now that's new to me in the state of Pennsylvania, because I've heard that from dozens of bands that I've encountered where they said, if you're a cover band, boom, you're going to get into a venue just like that.
It's true. At least for here, that's definitely
right.
true.
And I would say, I would look at that and it shocked me, for the last 5 years that I've been around this area, and I've heard that from even the metal bands that are like, well, we can't play our, heavy shit tonight. We got to play some, Beatles. And it's like, oh, like it's the opposite, like in
Right.
other places. And so someone was saying, it's hard to be an original band. I totally get that. You ever hear where bands are like, hey, our song went platinum in Tokyo? And you're just like, what? So, my thing is that even though you're from Northeast Pennsylvania, you're from Pittsburgh, you're from Indiana, wherever you're from, it doesn't mean that you're going to be really accepted there. You might get a big following if you go over to, across the border, over to Ohio. You might be like, dude, we got like 500,000 fans over in Ohio. Nobody likes us in our neighborhood. Who cares? It is what it is. So, just
for sure.
That's why you got to just reach out. But
for sure. And, piggybacking off that, an interesting thing, and I don't bring this up a lot, but I do find this very interesting. Def Leppard, they were not big in the UK at all. As a matter of fact, they weren't big in Europe. They blew up in America, and they toured America. They went back to the UK. People were like, who the fuck are these guys? And then they blew up in the UK after they already had 2-3 albums out.
Yeah, that actually happens a lot. A lot of national American bands make it in the UK first. And then they come back here, and then they've got that push, they've got that boost to get things going. And like you said, flip-flop the other way around as well. Yeah.
Right. So many artists that you hear on the radio today, you're like, wow, they're really good. You go and you look up their biography, and it's like, this band was established in 1992, and you're going, this is their single, like this is
Yeah.
their like first debut album as the band. But no, they've been putting out EPs for 2 decades. It's just that they finally went somewhere where they're accepted and blew up. So, but I'm not
Right.
telling all the bands to pack up their bags and just move out of state just because.
No, don't move, but definitely
No.
leave.
Yeah.
Definitely leave. Go.
Yeah.
Come
Go.
back.
Get out there
Yeah.
and come back. And when you
Yeah.
come back, we'll throw a huge ass party.
Hell
A
yeah.
hometown show.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah. Sold out hometown show. For sure. So that is all I have for you guys for tonight. So do you have anything else that you would like to mention about the bid break? I know that voting just began. Anything else about that you'd like to talk about before we go?
So yeah, real quick, the voting, you can vote every day, once a day, up until the end of the year. So do that as much as you can to help the band that you want to see move forward. Go to the next spot. I do want to give a shout out to a few other sponsors. I've already mentioned Ethos and Buying and Beautiful, but there's John Young Mortgage LLC. There's CC's Power Sports as well. As Elite Audio Records. They are actually the ones that will be recording the winner's track. iArtist Nation, and I also mentioned before Parlor. And very last thing, we have dates for the 3 live shows for round 2. Dates and locations. We've got Friday, January 21st, will be in Finnegan's in Scranton. Then we've got on the 22nd, the very following day, is going to be at the Jazz Cafe in Wilkes-Barre. And then the third night will be at the V Spot on January 29th, and that's in Scranton. And then the final round. So those all 3 of those shows are going to be 21 and up. The final round, though, that's going to be we're going to be holding that at Bar Louie at Mohegan Sun. And that will be 16 and up. And it's also going to be free admission. So
Cool.
Mark that down. Let's make that a party too.
Awesome. Hell yeah. I'm so looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah. Especially it'll be interesting to see who moves forward. Because I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm weird. I always like to see, I always like to track contests. Like, even if I'm not involved with it, I'm like, I'm rooting for this one. But with my luck, whatever contest it is, whoever I'm rooting for, they always lose. And I'm like, damn it. And it happens to me in football too. Like, I'll be like, my mom and her boyfriend do these bracket things. And I'm like, yeah, give me the Chiefs this week or whatever. And the Chiefs will put it in the toilet, and then the next week they'll win. I'm like, really? They come to 1 when I picked them. So I'm not going to say who I'm rooting for. Plus I don't want to be biased, but I hope that everybody, can, have the opportunity to move on. And, even if you just play the first night, that would be super awesome. Yeah.
Right. And if you don't make it this season, come back next season. We do plan on doing this again. And I do see a message here asking about admission. Yeah, the first 3 shows we are planning on, it's going to be $8 pre-sale and $10 the day of at the door. But yeah, like I said, the third one is going to be absolutely free. And just come have a good time and help the judges and the big break as a whole figure out who's going to be the winner.
Exactly. Cool. And make sure that you guys go online and vote. And then, as he said, check out the shows, and make sure that no matter who wins, who loses, who moves on, you're just fucking supporting local music, because that's what we're all here to do, right? We're all here to support local music.
That's right. thebigbreakcontest.com/vote. That's all I got.
All right. Cool. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This was awesome.
Thank you. Yes, it was. Thank you very much. And thanks for your support.
Of course. All right.